I'm leaving you for your sister. Those words felt like a bomb dropped in the middle of our anniversary dinner. My husband, Jason, stood at the head of the table, holding a champagne glass, as if he were about to make a toast, but instead of saying something sweet after 17 years of marriage, he chose to destroy it all, in front of everyone we knew. The room went completely silent. Friends, family, even the restaurant staff froze. 20 faces turned to me, waiting for my reaction. They expected tears, yelling, maybe a dramatic scene that they could gossip about for years. But I didn't give them that. My name is Lydia Harmon, I'm 42 years old, and I've worked hard to become one of the top interior designers in Boulder. I've spent years turning cold, lifeless rooms into warm, welcoming homes, and yet, somehow, I missed the coldness that had been growing in my own marriage. I looked at Jason. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I just reached into my handbag and pulled out a thick folder. I placed it calmly in front of him on the white tablecloth. Timing really is everything, I said quietly. Jason's confident smile faded. He looked confused. What's this? He asked. Open it, I said as I stood up. I smoothed my midnight blue dress, one I had picked out especially for this night, thinking we'd be celebrating. I glanced around the table at the stunned guests. My eyes landed on my sister, Vanessa. Her face had gone pale, she couldn't even look at me. I took one last look at Jason. Enjoy the rest of your dinner, the bill is already paid, and Jason, everything you need is in that folder. With that, I turned and walked out of the restaurant. My heels echoed across the marble floor. I didn't look back. As I stepped into the cool night air, I finally breathed freely. My car was waiting at the valet. I slid into the driver's seat and caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I looked calm, too calm for someone whose husband had just left her, for her sister. But that was because I'd been preparing for this moment for 3 months. It started with a simple message I wasn't supposed to see, a text from Vanessa to Jason that showed up on our shared iPad by accident. Miss you already, can't wait until she's out of the picture. It hit me like a punch to the stomach. My own sister, the one who stood by my side when I married him, the one I trusted with everything. That night, while Jason slept, I made a decision. I called Patricia Donovan, one of the toughest divorce lawyers in Colorado. I need your help, I told her, and I want to do this right. The next day, I hired a private investigator. Gather everything, Patricia instructed, text messages, financial records, property documents, we need proof. Week by week, the truth came out. First, the obvious, photos of Jason and Vanessa entering a hotel, coming out hours later, looking like a couple on vacation. They'd been seeing each other behind my back for almost a year. I saw their messages, their plans, their lies. Then came the money. Jason had slowly moved nearly $300,000 from our joint accounts into a private one under his name. He was draining me, little by little, hoping I wouldn't notice. But the worst part, he wasn't just cheating with Vanessa, he was cheating with someone else too, a former client of ours named Olivia. The photos left no doubt. My heart broke again and again, but I kept going. 2 weeks before our anniversary, the investigator uncovered legal documents where Jason tried to transfer ownership of our mountain home, the one I paid for with my inheritance, into his name alone. The county clerk caught it just in time. He's trying to erase you from everything, Patricia told me, but we're ready now. I made my moves quietly. I separated the business accounts. I froze joint credit cards. I took my name off everything Jason was trying to control, and I put all the evidence, every betrayal, every lie, every receipt, into that folder. I waited for Jason to make the first public move. I didn't expect him to do it at our anniversary dinner, but maybe I should have. He always did love an audience. What he didn't expect was that I'd already seen the full show, and written a better ending. After I left the restaurant, my phone blew up with messages and calls. I didn't answer. I didn't care what anyone had to say. I just kept driving, to the home that was legally mine, to the life I had rebuilt piece by piece while he thought I was in the dark. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't toss and turn. I slept like a woman who had finally put down a heavy load. The next morning, sunlight poured through the windows I'd designed to catch the early light. I made my coffee and sat quietly, enjoying the peace. Then my phone rang. Jason's name lit up the screen, again. It was his 27th missed call. I ignored it and dialed Patricia instead. It's done, I told her. He made his move last night. I gave him the folder. Perfect, she said. I've already filed the papers. He'll be served this morning. Right then, my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. Jason was standing outside, looking messy and panicked, wearing the same clothes from the night before. He's here, I told Patricia. Should I let him in? That's up to you, she said, but remember, anything he says can be used in court. Record it if you do. I stared at the man on my porch, the one who thought he could lie, cheat, and leave me with nothing. He had no idea who he was really dealing with. And this story, it was far from over. Vanessa didn't knock. She slammed the front door open like a storm, her face red with anger and heartbreak. She looked like she'd rushed to get there, wearing mismatched shoes, a sweater inside out, and her hair thrown into a messy ponytail. In her hand, she held her phone like it was a weapon. "You bastard," she shouted at Jason, completely ignoring me. "Who the hell is Olivia?" Jason's eyes widened. He looked back and forth between us, like he was trying to figure out the best way to lie his way out of this. I stepped aside and leaned against the stair railing, ready to watch. This moment had been coming for a long time, I just didn't expect it to happen this fast. Theo must have sent her the pictures right after I gave them to him. "Vanessa, just calm down," Jason said, lifting his hands like he could calm a fire with his palms. "Let me explain." "Explain?" she yelled, shoving her phone into his face. "Explain why you're in bed with this woman while you're telling me you love me? While promising you'll leave Lydia for me?" Jason shook his head. "It's not what it looks like." Funny, that was exactly what he said to me earlier. Vanessa finally turned toward me, like she just noticed I was there. Her expression kept changing, guilt, anger, confusion, all swirling at once. "You knew?" she asked me, her voice suddenly small. "I knew about you and Jason. I knew about Olivia. I also knew about the money he's been stealing from our business. The property he tried to put in his name. And I know about your plan to push me out of my own company." Vanessa froze. Her face went pale. "That's not true, we didn't," she started to say, but then she turned back to Jason, panic setting in. "What is she talking about?" Jason glared at me. "She's lying. She's trying to turn us against each other." I walked over to the dining room sideboard and returned with a thick stack of papers. I handed them to Vanessa. Her hands shook as she took them. I had gathered it all: bank statements, property records, real transcripts of texts, not the edited versions Jason had shown her. She flipped through the pages quickly. I could hear her breath catch as she read aloud. "Once she's gone, we can expand Harmon Interiors nationally. Your design with my business model will make millions. Lydia's too provincial, too attached to Boulder." She looked up at Jason, tears forming in her eyes. "You told me that message was about a potential investor. You said it had nothing to do with me replacing Lydia." Jason stepped forward. "Baby, you don't understand." "Don't call me that," she snapped, stepping away from him. "And what about the money you said you were saving for us?" "To start over?" "I was saving it for us. Everything I did was for our future," he insisted. I looked at him calmly. "Even Olivia?" Vanessa turned the pages again, stopping at a photograph. She stared at it, then whispered, 3 weeks ago. You told me you were in Denver for supplier meetings." Jason tried again. "She doesn't mean anything. It was just physical. Just like I was in the beginning?" Vanessa asked, her voice quiet and broken. "Before you convinced me we were in love?" Something in her seemed to break. She dropped the papers to the floor and stumbled back. For the first time since she barged in, she really looked at me, her older sister, the one she'd betrayed. "Lydia." I raised my hands slightly. "Don't," I said softly. "Not now." The room fell quiet. Outside, life went on, birds chirped, cars drove by, someone was mowing their lawn. But inside, it felt like everything had stopped. The three of us stood in silence, trapped in this ugly triangle of betrayal. Jason was the first to speak again. "This changes nothing," he said coldly. "The divorce is still happening. The business has to be split. We'll figure out the rest later." That's when I smiled, really smiled. And it scared him more than if I had screamed. About that, I said. There won't be much left for you to split. What are you talking about? Jason snapped, trying to sound confident. Harmon Interiors is worth millions. Just the contracts alone are all in my name now, I told him. As of last week, every client has signed over to Lydia Harmon Designs. Turns out, people don't like working with someone who embezzles money. His face twisted in rage. You can't do that. We built that company together. Actually, I can, I said calmly. Remember that morality clause you insisted on including when we signed with Westbrook Group? It works both ways. Your behavior gave me the right to dissolve the partnership. 3 lawyers confirmed it. And I've already taken it to court. You're bluffing, he said. No judge will go along with that. They already did. Yesterday. I got 2 temporary injunctions. You can't access the studio, the files, or the bank accounts anymore. Right then, Jason's phone started to buzz. He answered it quickly. What? His face changed as he listened. First confusion, then shock. That's not possible. Check again. He hung up without saying goodbye. What's the problem? I asked, feigning innocence. The Aspen project, he snapped. They just pulled out of a $2 million contract. What did you do? I didn't do anything. But apparently, Mrs. Thornton didn't appreciate finding out her designer's husband was sleeping with her sister. Jason's jaw dropped. Oh, you didn't know Olivia was her sister? That's unfortunate. Vanessa had been silently watching, her head moving back and forth like she was watching a tennis match. Now, she bent down to pick up her purse. Where are you going? Jason demanded. Home, she said, not looking at him. This mess is between you and Lydia now. Don't be stupid, he growled. You're in this too. You sent messages, made plans, you're not innocent. Vanessa flinched. I never wanted to hurt Lydia. You told me we'd give her a fair buyout. I raised an eyebrow. And you believed him? She didn't answer. For what it's worth, I added, I've told Patricia not to name you in the divorce. What happens between you and Jason is none of my business anymore. Vanessa looked surprised. Why? Because a public scandal would destroy our parents, and they don't deserve that. And, I said gently, because I think life will punish you enough without my help. Jason scoffed. Always playing the victim. No, I said. I'm just practical. The story's already spreading, thanks to your big announcement. I'm not feeding the gossip. I just want what's mine, and I want both of you gone. Jason's phone buzzed again. He didn't pick it up this time. This isn't over, he warned. Feel free to try, I said. But you might want to talk to the Department of Financial Services first. They're interested in those unauthorized transfers you made. He went pale. You reported me? No. Your assistant Gretchen did. She found the inconsistencies during the quarterly audit. Turns out, she has a conscience. Vanessa opened the door, her hand resting on the knob. She glanced back. I never thought it would end like this. It hasn't ended, I said. But it will. Very soon.